Here is a question that might make you a little uncomfortable. If you gave a broke person $1 million right now, how long do you think it would take for them to be broke again? Studies say most lottery winners are broke within 5 years, some within 2. And on the flip side, there are people who have lost everything. Businesses collapsed, savings wiped out, and within a few years, they are wealthy again. What is going on here? How does that happen? Because here's the thing most people get completely wrong about rich people. They think wealth is about the money, the amount in the bank account, the salary, the income. But that is not it at all. Wealth is not what you earn, it is who you become. And today, I am going to break down exactly how truly wealthy people think differently. The psychological patterns, the invisible habits, the mental frameworks that make rich people stay rich, even when the money disappears. Especially when the money disappears. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you will never look at money the same way again. Let me start with the story most of us were told growing up. Work hard, earn more money, then you will be rich. It sounds logical, right? And that is exactly why it is so dangerous. Because what this story does is make us believe that the path to wealth is a bigger number on our paycheck. So people spend their entire careers chasing the promotion, the raise, the higher salary. And every time they get it, they lifestyle creep right up to meet it. You get a raise, you get a nicer car. You get a bonus, you go on a better holiday. Your income doubles, your expenses quietly double too. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. You keep running, you keep earning more, but you never actually feel richer because your spending grows as fast as your income. The average person earns millions of dollars over their lifetime. They just spend almost all of it. And this is the first fin. Rich people understand that most people do not. Earning more money is not the same as building wealth. They are completely different games. Pillar 1, the asset mindset. Imagine 2 people, same salary, same city, same starting point. The first person buys a car, a nice one, leather seats, the whole thing. It makes them feel successful. The second person also buys a car, a modest one, and takes the difference in monthly payment and puts it into an index fund. Fast forward 20 years, the first person has driven several expensive cars and has very little to show for it. The second person has quietly built a portfolio worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Same income, completely different outcome. Here is how wealthy people see the world differently. They have trained their brain to sort every spending decision into one of 2 boxes. Box 1, things that take money away from you, things that lose value, things that cost you money just to own. Assets, because they feel nice to have. But a car that depreciates, a watch that sits in a drawer, a wardrobe full of clothes, these are not assets. These are wealth destroyers. Box 2, things that bring money back to you. Stocks, real estate that generates rent, a business that earns while you sleep. These are real assets. Rich people are obsessed with box 2. They buy things that make them money. Everything else is secondary. Warren Buffett still lives in the same house he bought in 1958. Not because he cannot afford something better, but because his brain has been rewired to see spending as an opportunity cost. Every dollar spent on luxury is a dollar that is not compounding somewhere else. Pillar 2. They buy time, not things. Here is a psychological truth that changes everything about how you look at money. Poor people trade their time for money. Rich people use money to buy back their time. Let me give you a simple example. A person earning $30 an hour spends their weekend doing their own accounting, mowing the lawn, fixing things around the house. They are saving money. That is smart, right? But here is what they are actually doing. They are trading their highest value hours, the hours they could use to grow their business, develop a skill, rest and think clearly, for tasks that someone else could do for $15 an hour. Wealthy people ask a different question. They do not ask, can I afford to pay someone else to do this? They ask, can I afford not to? This is not about being lazy. It is about understanding leverage. Where can your time create the most value? Do more of that. Delegate everything else. The richest people in the world are not working harder than you. They are working on the right things and paying others to handle the rest. Time is the one resource you genuinely cannot buy more of, but you can buy back how you spend it. Pillar 3. The network is the net worth. There is an old saying, your network is your net worth. Most people hear that and roll their eyes. It sounds like something a motivational poster would say. But there is deep psychology behind it. Research by social psychologist Nicholas Christakis found that we are powerfully influenced by the people around us. Not just our close friends, but their friends and their friends' friends. Our income, habits, health, and beliefs are shaped by our social circles in ways we barely notice. Think about it this way. If your 5 closest friends talk about money as something that is always tight, always stressful, always someone else's fault, that becomes your default belief about money too. But if your circle includes people who talk casually about investments, business opportunities, and building income streams, that conversation starts to feel normal to you too. And when something feels normal, you start doing it. Wealthy people understand this so deeply that they are intentional about who they spend time with. They go to events, join communities, read books not just for the information, but to be surrounded by a certain type of thinking. You do not just learn from your network. You become them. Slowly, unconsciously, inevitably. Now here's where it gets really interesting and a little uncomfortable. All 3 of those pillars, buying assets, buying time, building the right network, they require something that most people skip. They require a shift in identity. Most people approach money from the outside in. They want to change their financial situation, so they try to change their behaviors, spend less, save more, invest a bit. But behaviors are hard to sustain unless they are anchored to identity. If deep down you see yourself as someone who is not good with money, you will self-sabotage every financial habit you try to build. This is exactly why lottery winners go broke. The money changes, but the identity does not, and identity always wins. Wealthy people who have lost everything and rebuilt, and there are many, did not rebuild because they had better tactics. They rebuilt because their identity never changed. They still saw themselves as someone who builds wealth. So they just did it again. James Clear talks about this in the context of habits. He says the most lasting changes happen when you start with who you want to be, not what you want to do. Do not say, I want to save more money. Say, I am someone who builds wealth. And then ask, what would someone who builds wealth do right now? With this paycheck, with this decision, with this opportunity. The shift is subtle, but it is everything. Because behavior follows identity, not the other way around. So let us make this real. Here are 3 things you can start doing this week, not because they will make you rich overnight, but because they will start rewiring how you think about money. 1. Audit your spending through the asset lens. Go through your last month of spending and ask, is this building wealth or eroding it? You are not looking to eliminate everything enjoyable. You are looking to make conscious choices. Start separating your spending into 2 columns, things that grow and things that go. 2. Find one thing to delegate. What is eating your time that is not the highest value use of your hours? Maybe it is cleaning, admin work, grocery shopping. Find one thing and pay someone else to do it. Use that time to learn a skill, build something, rest deeply. Feel the shift in how you see money, not as something to hoard, but as a tool to reclaim your most valuable resource. 3. Audit your network. Sit with this question honestly. Do the people closest to you inspire you financially or drag you down? You don't need to cut anyone off, but be intentional about adding one new voice. A podcast, a book, a community, a mentor that thinks about money differently. Let that conversation become part of your normal. None of this requires a certain income level. It requires a decision, that is all. A decision about who you are going to be with money. Here's the thing about wealth. The money is actually the easy part. Anyone can receive money. A lottery win, an inheritance, a windfall. The hard part, the part almost nobody talks about, is whether your mind is ready to hold it, grow it, and keep it. The real reason rich people stay rich is not because they got lucky. It's not even because they are smarter. It's because they built a relationship with money that most people never develop. They see money as a tool, not a goal. They think in assets, not purchases. They protect their time like it's the most precious resource they own, because it is. And they surround themselves with people who expand their sense of what is possible. None of that requires a trust F. None of it requires a 6-figure salary to start. It starts with a question, and you are already asking it. The only difference between where you are and where you want to be financially is the person you are willing to become on the way there. So the real question is not, how do rich people get rich? The real question is, who are you deciding to become? Think about that. And if this gave you a new way of seeing money, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because wealth-building thinking is most powerful when it spreads.